working with 2 buyers right now. And I understand that there is something called the top agent network where agents post off-market properties. But we're new, so we don't have access to it. But I'm wondering, like, I mean, maybe one of you guys have, and maybe we can get information through your account. I'm just brainstorming to bring more resources to our buyers.
I'm waiting for Mark to pop in as the broker so he can talk to you about that. And I totally get it there. And also while he's getting on, and then I can mute myself, Mark. I know I'm on one of the Facebook groups. So let me find the group I'm in that's like this off-market one, and I'll tell you what that one's called.
Great.
I know there's Bay Area Realtors Community that people post on.
Yeah.
Bay Area Realtors Community, and geez, I guess I have this other one called Coming Soon Listings Pre-MLS. But are you in, Mark? You want to talk about that one?
I will in a second. I'm just trying to.
Oh, here's the other one I'm in. It's called our Off-Market Homes SF Bay Area, the Giving Agents. That's another one. Have you heard of all those already?
Yeah, so I'm in a couple of those groups. Yeah, but I mean this top the top agent network, it's like, you know, you can search, right? You know, like people post. It's not a social media group, you know, it's a group that people put their off-market property. So you can search, it's like MLS, so you can search and you can see all the property information, right? It's not like a Facebook group. So I'm just wondering, you know, how can we get access to it, you know, because we're still new.
What's going on, my cohort? So the secretive top agent network and their special MLS.
Yeah.
No longer exist.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, it's my understanding. No, it no longer exists. Yeah, it's
Why is
it's
that?
a fair housing issue, so they shut it down.
Oh.
It came along with the clear cooperation policy, kind of came with that hand in hand. So these days, if you have a listing, it has to be posted on the MLS of MLSs, unless you have an MLS exclusion or you're doing it off market.
Yeah.
If you're going to market the property to the public in any way, you must have it in the MLS.
Oh, so how do people market off-market properties right now?
You can market off-market properties the same way we've been doing it for forever. You go to the meetings and you talk to people. It's
Yeah.
word of mouth advertising. That's all it really is. That's
I
off-market properties. If your property is off-market, it's off-market. If it's on the market, then it's open to everybody, right? So once you stick a sign, a for sale sign in the lawn, according to our clear cooperation policy, that property within 24 hours must be listed on the multiple listing service. That's the
Oh,
rule.
so
there is no more special secret MLS of MLSs. You can have an MLS exclusion and stick your sign in the lawn, but you can't publicly market the property. Yeah, we can market. You can market to your fellow agents inside Keller Williams.
okay, I see.
Come to the
So
list club and talk about it.
yeah,
and
so
that
Mark,
nature.
would you say that because the top agent network is no longer there, it's people are doing less off market? Like, would you say that, or?
Here and there. I mean, there's different brokerages with different inventories. Some have more, some have less.
Yeah, yeah. So basically you just have to talk to people.
Yeah, please.
All right, I'm going to talk. Hold on. I'm going to echo for a sec.
Right.
So here's the deal. I get that it's a crazy seller's market right now, and you have buyers that you're trying really hard to find inventory for and find listings before anyone else gets them. You really need to read up on the clear cooperation policy. It went into effect over a year ago. I think it was May of 2021. And it's a federal or a national policy, and it was based on a major lawsuit. And there are huge fines in place if, as a listing agent, you try to sell something without posting it for everyone to be able to see it. So there's major fines, and you can get in a lot of trouble for it. You can lose your license, all that kind of stuff. So there's clear cooperation wording inside of the RLA. I don't know if you got that far yet already, or are we doing that today? We already talked about it.
We talked about it in the last session. We'll finish the RLA today.
And then also, if you go into MLS under education, you can read a lot of information under clear cooperation. I think you can also go into CAR site and read about clear cooperation. And so with that said, you as representing a buyer, just keep putting your buyers' wants and needs out there. Attend the Monday morning meeting, like Mark is saying, the listing club at 8 o'clock in the morning. Attend the association meetings. Put your buyer wants and needs out there. The more you have, the more the chance that will come back to you, and a solution will come back to you. And post it on Facebook and social media. And if they have certain neighborhoods they're looking for, another recommendation is for you to send a golden letter out. Does anybody know what a golden? Raise your hand if you don't know what a golden letter is.
We have never heard of this term, but I think we know what it is.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that afterwards today, I will send you a sample one. But basically, you're sending letters out to all the sellers in the neighborhood saying, I have a buyer who wants to live in this neighborhood, and I have a sample one that's from some Keller Williams agent, because it's been talked a lot about in the bold classes, and it's been talked about on different social media platforms. But that's another great tool, is to just be doing your job as a buyer's agent to try to find them a property. Okay.
Just one more comment. I guess this question came to our head because we met somebody over the weekend and they just started house hunting. So it's just a new friends that we met. And I asked them, hey, do you have an agent? And they said they just started working with an agent. And I said, how did you choose this agent? Why did you choose this agent? And they said, well, this agent is specialized in this area. She knows a lot of agents that have off-market properties. So, so we think that having that resource is very important. So when someone says something like that, what do you say to them? I mean, obviously we're new, so we cannot say we know a lot of agents that have off-market properties. What do you say to people like that?
I think that agent did a great job of selling herself and telling them something that made them feel more confident working with her. You want to mute yourself, Mark?
I muted her.
The volume thing down on the bottom is if you got to mute your volume. And is that better? And I think and what I would say to you guys here is, lots of agents. Are you kidding me? We have 75 agents here in this office. Plus we have agents at the Silicon City office. They don't know what lots of agents are or what a little amount of agents are. That's just what you're going to say to them. Oh my gosh, I have one of the biggest offices in the area, and we have lots of agents that are doing business in this area. And we talk about off-market listings all the time. You're selling yourself. Do they know what lots of agents means? I mean, I don't know who this other agent is, but they could have been an agent that was in an office of 10 agents. We have one of the largest real estate offices in the area. So yes, you do know lots of agents. You do. Okay. That's what, I don't know if I'll mute myself, Mark, and if you want to add. Okay, I'm turned off.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Between the agents in our office, and then you participate in the marketing meetings. Silvar has marketing meetings Wednesday, Thursday. SCORE has marketing meetings. So they're all opportunities to network with other agents. A, make friends and build your downline, build your profit share tree. And then B, network for off-market opportunities. Agents that are doing their care calls on a regular basis have those opportunities, right? You come across, you talk to people, they're like, yeah, well, man, if I found the right buyer, maybe we would sell, or in the right situation, maybe they would sell. And then that situation might materialize at the next marketing meeting when you're talking to another agent. So that's how these things happen, right? So just important to stay on top of your calls. Make sure you're maintaining contact with your clients, and letting them know you're participating in various activities that give them access to off-market listings, which is very true. Between the list club, our monthly meeting. You network with our agents internally here. And the marketing meetings, you pretty much get most of the active agents in the area. So between those two, you should be able to have access to as many off-market properties as anybody else.
How do you say it?
Yep.
Say it with confidence.
Right.
That's it.
Confidence.
That's it.
Thank
All
you.
right, so should we get back to our discussion as we were discussing this kind of very timely topic that this came up, because we were actually just talking about that as we signed off yesterday, or not yesterday, on Wednesday, right? We were in our listing agreement and we were talking, we were on the second page, if I'm not mistaken. We got through the first 2 pages. We should be on page 3, and lo and behold, at the bottom of page 2 is the public marketing of property policy and the listing agreement, right? So the listing agreement is going to stipulate this again. We just talked about this. So clear cooperation policies, the MLS rules require, they do require that residential real property with 1 to 4 units and vacant lot listings be submitted to the MLS within 1 business day of any public marketing. That's it. It's written there in black and white. What that means is it just has to be, it doesn't have to be active on MLS as a active show, come look at me property, but it has to, at the very, very least, be coming soon, do not show. Not coming, or not coming soon, what do they call it? Members only, do not show.
Yeah, and then the days
Members
on
only do not
market,
show,
when does
doesn't
it
accrue
start,
any
Mark?
on market.
Yeah.
Kevin, you
So-
had a question?
So coming soon is going to impact, is
Oh,
going to
okay.
start the clock on days on market.
Yes.
My volume's up. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Okay, what was your
All right,
question?
cool. Yeah. So Carrie was asking if, days on market starts with the coming soon.
So if it's members only, do not show, nothing starts. If it's members only show, everything starts. And then obviously if it's full open listing, well, exclusive listing with full-fledged listing on the MLS, everything goes. All the counters are ticking. All the counters are ticking. Okay.
So maybe just maybe too far ahead, but
Please.
creating the listing in the MLS, like, pretty much no house that's been resold is new. So there's probably a previous MLS number. Do we just, to create the listing, just reuse the MLS number?
No,
It's completely.
when you input a new listing, it gets assigned an MLS number.
Okay.
You have no control over the number. It gets
Okay.
automatically assigned. Yeah.
Okay.
So Mark, so we have a coming soon listing. We have not put it into MLS because we have some renovation to do, but we have the exclusion on the listing agreement. So
Okay.
we don't want to put in MLS, but we can put the sign right now because we have the
No.
exclusion.
Now, once you put the sign, you have to put it as a members only, do not show.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, got it. Thank you. Thank you for confirming.
That's great.
No, there's no max.
What was that?
Yeah, no, Laura thought there may be a maximum as to how long that the property can stay. Members only, do not show. And my understanding is there is no limit. It may have been, but it's not. I've seen those things on there for 3 or 4 months before they go live.
Okay, so when you put it into members only do not show, then maybe some agents will see and they'll start calling you. And so how do you handle that? Hey, you know what, it's not ready, call me back next month. Like, what is the best way to handle?
Just like you said, thank you for your inquiry. We're really excited to work with you. We'd love to help your clients get into this house. Unfortunately, it's not available to be viewed right now because it's under construction. It'll be ready by this day, hopefully. Stay in touch. When it's ready, we'll go live on MLS. Or whatever, if your plans are, under list by 5%, set an offer date and let them know, hey, we'll be on the market. We'll be on for at least 7 to 10 days, so don't worry, won't get sold out from under you.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to explain why people use that category. Why do they bother with coming soon or members only?
Why do they bother with coming soon or members only?
Why do they bother with putting it on coming soon if it's not ready?
Well, just to get the market ready for the house, to kind of build momentum for the marketing of the property, so people are anticipating the property coming live. That's it. Just to kind of hit the ground running, so that when you are live, people are already aware that this house was going to be sold.
Do you try to ask the agent, who's calling you, okay, what is your buyer looking for? What is the price range? Like, do you kind of maybe try to get that information? And
Sometimes.
Yeah.
If it matters. Sometimes it matters. Like if you're taking offers, then it matters a little more. But I get the clear picture. I just want to send me an offer. Once you send me an offer, I'll then begin to unravel the puzzle of who your client is.
Well, they
Until
send you a-
until I see your written offer with your pre-approval letter and your proof of funds.
yeah.
It's just like Charlie Brown's teacher going. "Wah, wah, 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 wah."
Yeah. Why do people send, what is the pros and cons of preemptive offers?
Preemptive offers, well, it gives you an opportunity to take the property down without any competition. And it's a tactic, I believe, that when listing agents are scared, they don't know what they're doing, they're not confident in their plan, they decide that, you know what, maybe if we take maybe this offer is too good or whatever. It's for me, I think it's, if you set an offer date, stick to it. If you don't, take offers as they come. That is what it is.
Yeah, because
But
I see a
to
lot
take
of
preemptive offers, like for me personally, I'm representing a buyer, I'm looking at a listing. If they'll consider preemptive offers, I'm going to do everything I can to take this house down right now.
yeah.
No sense in waiting. I have a ready, willing, and able buyer. Let's negotiate. Let's make a deal. What's it going to take?
Because
That's my mentality.
yeah, I see a lot of listings. They put in the MLS no preemptive offers.
Yeah.
So I guess they just don't want to complicate the seller.
No, they don't want to preempt they want the multiple offer situation. They want to drive the price up.
Yeah.
They can negotiate with you, but they're not going to negotiate with you by yourself when there's 5 other people they can throw into the mix.
Yeah.
Nothing will motivate you more to do what they want than competition.
Yeah. So this is my last question, sorry. So if you put no preemptive offer, but someone can still send you a preemptive offer, right? Like you cannot stop.
Nothing prevents someone from sending you an email. Absolutely
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah.
So they can still do that, even though you say no.
Uh-huh.
And if
can.
they do that, you have to present to the seller.
It's a gray area.
Is
If you
it?
have instructions from the seller to say, I only want to see offers on a specific day,
Yeah.
you thank them for their offer and say, I'll give you an answer on that specific day when the seller is reviewing offers. If they give you any grief for it, who cares?
Gotcha. Okay.
It's like,
So-
okay, do you really want to be a pain in the ass? You can be a pain in the ass. Well, remember that come offer day. You sure? Are you sure?
Okay. So you need to get the,
Is my response for people that want to be aggressive with that. And I'm like, and a lot of that, come show me the offer. We'll see what it says. If it's at list price or close to list price, it could be a good offer. But if it's not the best thing ever, then it's just not going to get taken. Preemptive.
so you don't, so even though someone sent you a preemptive offer, you don't have to present it if the seller agrees that they won't see offers until that day.
Yeah. Or you can present it. You can present it and say, oh, thank you for your offer. The seller said no. They said they're taking offers on that day. Your offer is not good enough to take it down any sooner. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, feel free to present this on Tuesday. If it's the best offer we have on the offer day, they may take it.
Yeah.
But they're not going to take it today. Sorry.
Right.
And I already don't like you. So that's, you know what I mean? Because
Right.
and I appreciate what you're trying to do, which is fine. It's life, right? We play a game, people play their game. That's okay. But
It sounds, yeah, it sounds to me that like the agreement between the agent and the seller could be just through email. It doesn't have to be everything on the listing agreement.
no, but I will go through this listing agreement. You'll see it pretty much covers most things.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
They don't trust the California Association of Realtors lawyers don't trust us to explain everything appropriately, and for good reason, because every page in this document is a result of a legal dispute between a seller and a listing agent. right? At some point, there used to be a napkin that said, I hire you to sell my house, I will pay you 6%, get me this dollar amount. You only need half a page for that with big font. Right now we have 5 pages of little font because there's been disputes, there's been situations where we haven't explained things the way we should. So this is what it is. It's a good thing we have these forms to cover our backsides. If people sign them, at least we can refer to them. Like, you think that the statewide buyer and seller advisory or the market conditions advisories, I mean, they're kind of rudimentary. We got to go through them really quick, but you understand that those documents cover your butt for a majority of problems that you're going to run into in the event that the transaction goes sideways.
Yeah, I mean, you can do, I mean, because we did the listing agreement, and then now we're doing renovation. So there will be, you know, other things come up. I guess we can do addendum, right, to the listing agreement. So everything is formal.
Yeah, especially if you're putting money out, you got to have a written agreement.
Yeah.
Make sure you're covered, make sure you get your money back.
Right.
Because the worst case, I mean, if everything goes according to plan, then everything's hunky-dory. It goes smooth, right? You put your money out there, you put the house on the market, it sells, and everyone gets their money back, everything looks great. But what happens when something goes sideways? Which sometimes it does, right? You put this money into the seller's property, the seller has a situational change in their family, and they no longer want to sell.
Yeah. Right.
Now you're out 30 grand, you know, like, what happens?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure you have a clear understanding of the situation. You have to have it clear out. So it says, okay, Mr. Seller, yeah, it's your house. If you decide not to sell, you owe me this money.
Right. Right. So you can do, addendum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And because you want that, because you don't want to be a lien holder on their house either. You want your money back.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so let's get back to our agreement here. Page 3. We were talking about the top of it was the bottom of page 2 was the coming soon status that we were just talking about, right? The MLS data on the internet, part 8. MLS rules allow MLS data to be made available by the MLS to additional internet sites unless broker gives the MLS instructions to the contrary. Specific information that can be excluded from the internet as permitted by or in accordance with the MLS is as follows. The property or property address. The seller can instruct the broker to have the MLS not display the property or the property address on the internet. Seller understands that either of these opt-outs would mean consumers searching for listings on the internet may not see the property or property's address in response to their search. And nothing is more frustrating than having stuff missing when you're looking for property. It is what it is, but I recommend not doing that. Feature opt-outs. The seller can instruct broker to advise the MLS that the seller does not want visitors to the MLS participant or subscriber websites or electronic displays that display the property listings to have the features below. The seller the features below, right, from the car form SELI. The seller understands that these opt-outs apply only to websites or electronic displays of MLS participants and subscribers who are real estate broker and agent members of the MLS. That other internet sites may or not have the features set forth herein, that neither the broker nor the MLS may have the ability to control or block such features on other internet sites. Like if it's a fancy property, some people may not want to know that they have bidets in their bathrooms. I don't know. For whatever reason, they may have reasons to exclude different features of the house. They don't want people knowing. Again, yeah, you want to highlight everything, and you can make any negative or positive if you spin it properly. So I would never really understand why anyone would want to do a feature opt-out unless you had like a dungeon. You didn't want people knowing you had a dungeon at the bottom of your house, so just something ridiculous.
What about like a gun safe or a regular safe kind of thing?
Safes, yeah. If you don't want people to see the safe, yeah, or even mention that there is a safe. And the other thing, again, guys, with the safes, good thing you brought that up. A lot of times people will have them like bolted to the floorboards so that they become a part of the house. So then they become a part of the house. So you got to leave it behind. So keep that in mind too. And if there's a lot of cases, people don't want to leave those things behind, right?
Or they put that it's excluded.
Yeah, you could exclude it, yeah. In the exclusion sections. Okay, seller representations. The seller represents that unless otherwise specified in writing, the seller is unaware of any notice of default recorded against the property, any delinquent amounts due under any loan secured by or other obligation affecting the property, any bankruptcy, insolvency, or similar proceedings affecting the property, any litigation, arbitration, administrative action, government investigation, or other pending or threatened action that affects or may affect the property or seller's ability to transfer it, and any current pending or proposed special assessments affecting the property. Seller shall promptly notify broker in writing if seller becomes aware of any of these items during the listing period or any extension thereof. Basically, the seller is warranting that they are not aware of any other title problems. They have clear issues and can legally transfer the title of the property. All right. Brokers and sellers' duties. Broker responsibility, authority, and limitations. The broker agrees to exercise reasonable effort and due diligence to achieve the purposes of this agreement. Unless the seller gives broker written instructions to the contrary, the broker is authorized but not required to order reports and disclosures, including those specified in 10D as necessary. Advertise and market the property by any method and in any medium selected by broker, including MLS and the internet, and to the extent permitted by these media, control the dissemination of information submitted to any medium, and disclose to any real estate licensee making an inquiry the receipt of any offers on the property and the offering price of such offers. So you're authorized, but you're not required to. You can tell the price, but you don't have to. You work in the seller's best interest. Whatever you guys decide in your strategy, you decide on in your strategy. My experience extensively has been that the closed auction policy is the best way to sell a house to favor the seller that there is. It just is what it is. That means you don't tell the prices because you never know what the other side's willing to spend. Those types of strategic things, I mean. Also, I would recommend prior to seeing any offers, definitely don't mention the price. After you see their offer and you see their financial capabilities, then you can be more astute in your conversations about the price because you know if they even can go up or they can't. But until you see that in writing, you don't know. You know what they tell you, but that could be all right. Once you get it in writing, you see their credit score, you see their income ratios if they provide them, or at least a pre-approval letter, so you can call the listing agent or you can call the buyer's loan or agent and have a conversation, right?
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Carrie.
Yeah. So I mean, for us as the buyer, you know, and I think other buyers agent too would ask the listing agent, hey, you know, can you give us some guidance? You know, like, you know, are we too low? Are we too high? I mean, not too high. Like, you know, how far up you would need. So when the buyer's agent asks you this kind of question, what would be the best answer?
Well, when they ask me for guidance, I decline to guide them. Simply for this, and yeah, and this is why. It's like, Mr. Buyer's agent, I can appreciate you working for your buyer. However, I don't want to cloud your judgment. I don't know what you're willing to offer. If I give you a number, you listen to me, then another agent comes in and beats that number, and we take that other offer because that's what's in front of us now. I call you with bad news. And you would have offered more, but instead you listened to me and offered a little less and got beat. So I want to avoid that situation altogether.
But
Please
what if they?
Please
but what if they-
conduct your analysis and make the strongest offer you feel comfortable making.
Yeah. But what if they ask you, okay, so how many offers do you have now? You know, how many disclosures have you sent out? You know, if we're not the highest, you know, what is the distance, you know, based on what you have now? What if they ask all those kinds of questions?
Then yeah, you tell them. I tell them.
You would tell them.
Yeah. If you're not the highest, yeah, you're not the highest.
But would you tell them, okay, you know, you are off by around this much, or, you know,
No, I don't tell them how much they're off by. After
But as a buyer's agent.
I would, yeah.
As a buyer's agent,
I cannot hear you, Laura.
Sure.
and ask it in different ways and see if they'll say something.
I cannot hear.
Oh, she says as a buyer's agent, you should still ask. Just because they're not supposed to tell you doesn't mean they won't.
Oh,
Right.
I always ask, and
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
the listing agent has been quite cooperative.
Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Like if people ask me if we're before the deadline and offers are still coming in, how far away are you? I don't know. I haven't seen all the offers yet. I don't know. You know, offers could come in. We have a deadline of 3 o'clock. Until 3 o'clock, I won't know. And then probably until 5 or 6 o'clock until I open them all and vet them all. So right now, I don't know, right? If it's before. If it's after, then most likely you're getting the call saying you didn't get it, right? And then you can say, well, how far off we were.
Yeah.
And then I tell them how far off they are. And I tell them how many people are behind.
After
them.
the fact.
Well, yeah. Before the fact, they really don't have a chance to ask. Only the really aggressive agents will, which is a good chance of me beginning a contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
I
you
mean,
will.
if there's a ton of offers coming at a certain deadline, my philosophy is I need to be on the phone with that listing agent within 30 minutes of that deadline, or I have no chance. But if I'm on the phone with the listing agent around that deadline, then we can try to get that information and then act on it, right? Oh, you're not the highest. I have a few higher. Then I can get back to my clients. They did. We're not the highest. We're not going to win, but we have 15 minutes. You know, what were you thinking? Do you love this place? Do you guys want to do more? Kind of thing.
I see. Or you can just wait for the counter. I mean,
If there is, that there is no guarantee of any counters. Nobody owes you anything. You could call me at 5-10 minutes before the deadline and you could be the best offer at that time. But in 10 minutes, if a better offer comes in that meets the seller's needs and is already pushing boundaries, and I've kind of seen your offer, it doesn't make any sense for you to leapfrog, you're not going to get a call or a chance.
right.
You're going to get the unfortunate, I'm sorry, we're working with another offer call.
Right. But what I'm saying is, like, when
If the agents
asks,
are ghosting you or not calling you back for like half a day, it's because they're negotiating with the other buyers.
right, so you basically have no chance. Yeah. So okay, but when
And,
they ask
and you could be in the worst place of all, right? Second or third, where they don't want to tell you no yet, just in case those first guys can't finish the negotiation and run away, right? So they just avoid you until it's too late or until something happens.
Yeah. Would you rather just focusing on the highest bid and negotiate with that one person, or you do multiple counters?
Every situation is going to be different. In most cases I've seen, there's a significantly better offer that wins.
Yeah.
And in those cases, it doesn't make any sense to do any more multiple counters.
Right.
The only time I do multiple counters is if I have a load, like maybe only 2 or 3 offers and they're all clustered within a percent of one another.
Right,
Then we'll multiply.
very close.
Yeah, if I have like 2 or 3 offers at list price, everyone's getting a multiple counter.
Right. But if one really stands out, you just focus on that one.
Yep.
Okay.
But
But
usually like the breakdown, you'll have 8 or 9 offers. There'll be 1 or 2 that are significantly better.
Right.
And the one that signed all the disclosures and removed all the contingencies is the one that they take.
Yeah. But Mark, just to confirm, so when you say, so like when the buyer's agent asks you, okay, you know, how many offers do you have so far? You know, how many disclosures? Like, you will honestly tell them that.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Because if you have no offer, then I feel like it put you in a bad situation to tell them that. Do you?
Yeah, but you know what though? It depends. Like there's people that are calling you and what's their purpose? Their purpose is to see what the situation is.
Yeah.
So if they have buyers at list price and I know like my buyers will only go list price and you call and I call you and you say you have no offers, I'm excited. My clients are going to buy this house. But if you call me and say, oh, I have 3 offers and you don't have any offers, and I go back to my clients, go, guys, there's 3 offers and this is at the top of your range, you have no chance. And they don't
Right.
write. Now you lose.
Can I
Yeah.
add something?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
You got to go back to the agency disclosure. You guys have a fiduciary responsibility of honesty and integrity. Don't put yourself in a position where you're trying to get more and more offers. And so you're not honest about what you have. You don't have any offers. You don't have any offers. It can really backfire on you, just like in Mark's example, where someone calls and says, hey, just checking to see how many offers. And honestly, there's none, but he says there's 3 because he's trying to drive the price up. And then you say to your buyers, just like Mark said, they've already got 3 offers. This is at the height of your range. You're not going to get this. Let's forget it and not right. And then all of a sudden they don't have any offers. So remember your duty of honesty and integrity in all of your dealings with your client. You got to sleep with yourself at night. Don't go to bed doing something that's not honest.
Yeah, but the duty is to your client, not to the other side.
And that's duty to your client is to be honest about stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the point is not to lie about it, but you can say, hey, you know, I prefer not to disclose, right?
Absolutely, I could prefer not to disclose.
Right. No, but this is good. Yeah, thank you.
Mark,
Yeah,
I have a question.
Mazu, please.
So, say we are trying to, I'm just trying to follow up on that question. Say if there is a property, this is not on the listing side, but just on the buyer side. Say there's a pending property in the same neighborhood, and whatever price that closes will be the baseline for the current property offer, right? So, what would be the script to use to get information from the other property agent about what the range of offers is like?
You just ask. Sometimes they'll tell you, especially if contingencies are removed, especially if they did a good job. People can't keep their mouths shut, especially if they want to brag about it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, you ask about it, they'll likely tell you. In
Okay.
the past, that has always been the case, but these days, they likely will tell you. I
Okay.
usually tell people, especially if contingencies are not removed, if I'm worried about the buyer not fulfilling their obligations and I think they're going to back out, then I won't say. But if I'm confident that the buyer's going to close and it's going to record in 3 days, in my opinion, what's the harm in telling somebody that? I don't think
Information.
there's any harm in that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that is all right and ethical as well. There's no gray area there, right?
Yeah,
Got it. Thank you.
it is okay. Yeah, the presentation of offers, right? Broker agrees to present all offers received for seller's property and present them to the seller as soon as possible, unless the seller gives broker written instructions to the contrary. Right? An email works, right? So you have a discussion with your seller, you decide, okay, we're going to list this 10% low, we're going to set an offer date of next Tuesday, and we're going to only look at offers after 5 p.m. next Tuesday. We're going to have an open house, we're going to have 1,000 people through this place, and we'll have a whatever it is we're going to have, right? And that's the strategy. You get the okay via email from the seller. That's what you want to do, and that's what your strategy is. Put that into play. Then when the people offer, say, hey, do you take a preemptive offer? You say no, because we've already had the established strategy. Right? Right. All right. They can say no preemptive offers, but can they take a preemptive offer? They sure as hell can. Guys, there is no hard and fast rule on that. You want to maintain your integrity, right? If you're putting something out there for the whole world to see, you want to maintain that integrity, because people have a long memory. If you break your integrity down the road, then when you try to enforce it again, like, people aren't going to take it seriously. And God forbid, when the market shifts, they just won't show your listings, which we don't want to see happening. All right. Buyer supplemental offer letters, buyer letters. So they address this in the listing agreement, just in case we forget to mention it in our presentation. Paragraph 8 of the Fair Housing and Discrimination Advisory, CARB Form FHDA, attached to this agreement, Inform the seller of the practice of many buyers and their agents of including a buyer letter with an offer to try and influence a seller to accept the buyer's offer. Buyer letters may include photos and videos. Whether overt or unintentional, buyer letters may contain information about a buyer's or seller's protected class or characteristics. Deciding whether to accept an offer based upon protected classes or characteristics is unlawful. Broker will not review the content of buyer letters. Means I won't read them. And Mr. Seller, you shouldn't really either. Even when the letters were legal, I would always ask my clients, hey, do you guys want the letters or do you just want the merits of the offer? And in most cases, they want just the merits of the offer. They don't care. But some people do. So
Yeah,
if
so
you're back in the day, if you were representing your buyers, you were doing them a disservice by not writing a letter. Right? That was actually one of the points of differentiation that many buyers agents use. It's like, hey, I write the best letters, they'll get your offer accepted. But unfortunately, those letters are no longer in play.
yeah, hey Mark, so we advised our sellers about this point and they said, oh no, we want the letters. And then we asked them, hey, so will you accept a lesser offer if you like the letter, or, and they're like, yeah, maybe, if the difference is not too big because we want to help like people or whatever. So how do you handle this kind of situation?
Well, you explain to them that they are exposing themselves to a fair housing lawsuit, and as well intentioned as they may be for wanting to help someone, for every person they're thinking they're helping, there's going to be people that are scorned by their decision. And I mean, at the end of the day, when you sell the property and you take your profits, you want to walk away and sleep at night. You don't want to worry about other people coming after you or suing you for one thing or another. So it's great that you will care about your neighborhood, and I can totally appreciate that. But as your broker, this is my advice to help protect your assets. And that is to work with the merits of the offers. And my advice is against seeing the love letter from the buyers.
Because
If you insist on it, I'm not going to stop it. And if you insist on it, if they present them, I'll show them to you. That's fine. But we're going to have probably 3 or 4 more pieces of paper to sign saying that you're accepting an offer against my advice, because I don't want to be sued for fair housing. And I sure as hell don't want to sit through a 7-hour lecture.
I see.
I have sat through that lecture before. I don't recommend it.
Which one's closer? You want this way? Across the field?
I don't know. Because Stephanie and Yuan said they.
Sorry, guys, I put it It has a tendency of going from like 25% battery to nothing. Not dependable. Maybe it's time for a new computer. Okay. So.
Sorry, last thing. So is it
Please.
not okay to include photos or later in the in the offer?
I wouldn't.
No, but is it like not legal? Because when I had listing, I saw many offers coming up with, why they like garage. They wanted to change the garage to art room, something like that. So I had seen, when I got multiple offers, I had seen photos and letters.
Oh, yeah.
So that's okay.
It doesn't say that it's not done. It's just saying that I don't recommend it. Right? Because the next line, it says the seller instructs the broker to present the buyer letters, right? The broker advises the seller, right, that the buyer letters may contain information about protected classes or characteristics, and such information should not be used in the seller's decision of whether to accept, reject, or counter a buyer's offer, right? So we just told them about it again. If the seller relies on the buyer letters, seller is acting against the broker's advice and should seek the advice of counsel before doing so, right? If you take a lower offer, the guy with the better offer is going to be pissed off right when that records, right? They know they're vested in the offer. They moved in their mind. When the thing records being $50,000 less than they offered, they're going to be offended and be, why did they take less? And they say, well, is it because of the color of my skin? Is it because of the size of my family? Did they not like the picture of my pit bull? Did they not like What didn't they like or what happened? I was discriminated against. No one likes to feel that they were discriminated against. And in our litigious society, when that person feels that they've been discriminated against, they're going to call an attorney. And then you're going to get a call from their attorney.
But if you have a legitimate reason, like, okay, it was 50K less, but it was an all cash offer.
You better have a legitimate reason. Yeah.
Right.
A
Or-
legitimate reason other than whatever protected class that the person suing you feels that they're being violated. Yeah.
So Mark, would you say that like you can present the buyer's letter, but don't read it yourself, just give it to them?
You could, yeah. You could, but the whole thing is with these 2 paragraphs is we're telling them, don't do it.
Just don't do it
At
at
the end
all.
of the day, it's up to them, right? I can tell you not to, I can tell you not to drink the tap water in Mexico till I'm blue in the face, but you get to Mexico and you're thirsty and you drink it. It's not my fault.
Yeah, okay.
All right. The seller agrees to consider offers presented by broker and to act in good faith to accomplish the sale of the property by, among other things, making the property available for showing at reasonable times, and subject to paragraph 3F, referring to broker all inquiries of any party interested in the property. The seller is responsible for determining at what price to list and sell the property. The seller is responsible for determining what price to list and sell the property. Kind of important, right? It's not up to us, it's up to them. All right. Investigations and reports. Seller agrees within 5 days of the beginning of this agreement to order and, when required by the service provider, pay for a natural hazard disclosure report and the following reports: pest control, property inspection, HOA documents, title reports, roof inspections, pool inspections, sewer inspections, and any other inspections. Right, if the property is located in common interest development or HOA, seller is advised that there may be benefits to obtaining any required documents prior to entering into escrow with any buyer. Such benefits may include, but not limited to, potentially being able to lower costs in obtaining the documents and avoiding any potential delays or complications due to late or slow delivery of such documents. So basically what this is saying, this allows you or gives authorizations to order pre-listing inspections. Are pre-listing inspections a good idea? 9 times out of 10, they are a good idea, especially in our area when the properties are expected to sell fairly quickly after listing. In other areas where they expect to sit on the market for a year, I can appreciate them saving the money on the home inspection because they're going to have to do another one when they get an offer. But in with our market being as fast moving as it is, the inspections come through, they're still valid when the offers are made, typically within 30 days of coming to the market in most cases, right? So these are the variety inspections. We like to provide a complete disclosure package to our buyers as a brokerage policy. This prevents people from making offers that are not serious, prevents people from having to take properties off the market for buyers that are not serious. And with the information that you get in these inspections, you can then maybe get ahead of certain items, especially if they're going to result in a better bottom line for your seller, right? If you have an old bathroom and then the termite report also says that, yeah, the floor is soft and it's water damage, the whole thing needs to be replaced. They stick a $5,000 price tag on a new bathroom on a termite inspection. Buyer sees that as a $50,000 price tag to the bathroom. Might make sense to get ahead of that and remodel the bathroom, right? You'll get whatever money you invest in the remodel and then some. So hopefully you get a profit for your client. But nevertheless, right, we want to do these inspections up front to give our buyers a clear picture of the condition of the property. The worst thing that can happen is you take an offer and you remove the property from the market and the property falls through and you have to go back on the market. It could be no fault of the property, but everyone assumes that the property is a piece of crap because buyer didn't want it, didn't take it. Could be totally the buyer's fault. Buyer could have lost their job, whatever, right? Goes back on the market. There's going to be a slight stigma chances are the second round, even when the market's ultra hot and you get 20 offers on the property, the second round you will likely not get 20 offers. You may get 3 or 4. It might not be what you got before. So it's very important that you select the correct offer when they come through. And that's why listing agents put such a strong emphasis on removal of contingencies, right? Laura has something to add. Please, Laura.
And I think you gotta turn something off. Can you guys hear me? Kevin, okay. The other thing for me is by doing the inspections up front, I can recommend the inspectors that I really like, that I trust. And so then as a listing agent, we're working with inspectors that, not that they're doing me any favors, but I know they're going to do a really good, thorough job. If you wait for the buyers to hire inspectors, then you don't have as much control over which inspectors they're choosing, whether they're any good, what their reports are going to look like. And so you're leaving a lot more up to what could happen, which Mark is saying, then the buyer backs out. Then you've got inspections that the buyer did that you then have to disclose because they're now a material fact. So I just explained to my sellers, we want to make sure that we're in the driver's seat on this, and we want to use inspectors that I have vetted, that I trust, that I know are going to do a good job, so that we don't, and buyers still have a right to do other inspections, but chances are they probably won't if you provide really good inspections up front.
Do you guys have any roof inspectors that you recommend? Oh, you're both muted.
Problem solved. Roof inspector was the question?
Yeah.
You asked if we had any roof inspectors?
Yeah.
Yeah. Laura, did you have something you want to share?
I'll text it.
We have an office vendor list. Are you familiar with the access to the office vendor list?
Yeah, I don't recall seeing that in the roof. Okay, let me look.
Yeah. And if there are none, just text me. I'll give you mine.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. The seller further agrees to indemnify, defend, and hold broker harmless. That's what I like to hear. From all claims, disputes, litigation, judgments, attorney fees, and costs arising from any incorrect or incomplete information supplied by seller, or from any material facts the seller knows but fails to disclose, including dangerous or hidden conditions on the property. Right? So if the seller lies, or if they're not representing the property, we're held harmless. We ask the question. That's what we are expected to do. The seller answers the question and takes full responsibility for those answers. All right, the deposit. The broker is authorized to accept and hold on the seller's behalf any deposits to be applied towards the purchase price, which is funny they write that there, because we will never hold a seller's deposit for any reason, ever. Yeah, this is a little old strategy, I guess, but here in Northern California, the title and escrow companies provide the service of holding the deposits. We want nothing to do with those things. We don't want to mix our money with the seller's money. That creates problems. All right. Possible dual agency with the buyer. Depending on the circumstances, it may be necessary or appropriate for the broker to act as an agent for both seller and buyer, exchange party, or one or more additional parties. Brokers shall, as soon as practicable, disclose to the seller any election to act as a dual agent representing both seller and buyer. If a buyer is procured directly by broker or an associate licensee in the broker's firm, the seller hereby consents to broker acting as a dual agent for seller for services rendered, provided there is disclosure to all parties of such agency and compensation. Seller understands and agrees that a dual agent may not, without the express permission of the respective party, disclose to the other party confidential information, including but not limited to facts relating to either the buyer's or the seller's financial position, motivations, bargaining position, or other personal information that may impact price. Hey, my clients are getting a divorce. Want a good deal on a house? Yeah, you can't do that. Including the seller's willingness to accept the price less than the listing price, or the buyer's willingness to pay a price greater than the price offered. and except as set forth above, a dual agent is obligated to disclose known facts materially affecting the value or desirability of the property to both parties. So with dual agency, guys, if you're representing the seller and you expect multiple offers, there is no dual agency. Two things can happen. A, you refer the buyer to another agent to represent them, and you still represent your seller. That's fine. B, decide that I really want to represent this buyer. I like this buyer more than my seller. I have more loyalty to them. In which case you call Laura or myself in, and we'll present the offers to the seller as the seller's agents, and you can represent your buyer. You still get your commission like you would as the listing agent, of course, that doesn't change. But we need to make sure that our reputation is above reproach and that the process is deemed fair by all parties involved. Kevin.
So there was a house a while ago we were looking at. We walked through the house and the listing agent's showing us, they're like, oh, by the way, I'm also going to be bidding on this property myself.
Cool.
Is that a conflict of interest?
Yes. At which point I say best of luck to you. I'll see you later.
Okay. Which we did.
Yeah. No. If you're bidding on the property yourself, you got to lock that down before you go. You don't even take it on the MLS. You don't even take the listing. You just negotiate it and you buy the house, right? Okay. Potentially competing sellers and buyers. The seller understands that the broker may have obtained listings and other properties and that the potential buyers may consider make offers on or purchase through the broker property the same as or similar to seller's property. The seller consents to broker's representation of sellers and buyers of other properties before, during, and after the end of this agreement. Seller acknowledges receipt of a possible representation of more than one buyer or seller, disclosure and consent form. People may have been confused in the past that when they hire you, they are your only client for life, right? So no, that's not the case. We represent buyers and sellers, multiple properties throughout the Bay Area. That's just life. Laura's flashing the out of time light. So we're out of time, but thank you guys for joining us. I think one more day and we'll get through this. Any last minute questions before we wrap up for the day?
Yes, Mark. Where can I find these recordings to be able to view them later?
Laura.
Ask Olivia.
Olivia will have access. We should post them on YouTube.
Can you guys hear? I'm sorry, maybe mute yours for the echo. So what we're doing is Olivia is going to be putting TransactionOne classes into our YouTube channel, into hopefully a special folder that says TransactionOne so that they're easy to find. We also are doing our best to remember to hit record, and I'm working with Olivia to just make it record automatically. And so there might be a few classes in the last few weeks that unfortunately did not get recorded. So we're doing our best moving forward to get them all recorded. Kevin and Kiri, we deleted that one class with your offer on it. So that's not going to be able to be seen. Okay, so check with Olivia. She can send it to you. Otherwise, we're working on getting it in our YouTube channel under TransactionOne. Okay, thanks you guys.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
See you.
Thank you.
Done, good.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.